Greetings, fashionistas and style enthusiasts. Welcome or welcome back to the House of Vanity. For almost a decade, Gossip Girl captivated a whole generation with their distinctive and personality-filled styles. Blair, Serena, Jenny, Vanessa, Chuck, Nate, and Dan inspired thousands of young people, especially Blair and Serena, with their refined and highly polished clothes. For 6 seasons, the plot was much more than the story of scandal, wealth, dating, and the chic Manhattan lifestyle. Gossip Girl was responsible for changing people's perspective on fashion. It was a huge change for fashion, especially tailoring. After Gossip Girl, the sleek and sophisticated look seemed more normal for young people who moved between indie sleaze and preppy style in fashion. Headbands, tights, tight dresses, blazers, tote bags, bows, boots, and bubble skirts, all together. Gossip Girl took fashion to another level, full of personality and influence. Today, we're going back in time to understand how Gossip Girl influenced fashion in the mid-2000s and early 2010s, and also how it influences today. Come on, the blog girl is back. First, let's look at the plot. The story is about a normal life of a group of elite teenagers in Manhattan. However, their lives stopped being the same when an anonymous person started revealing their big secrets on a blog. All of this in New York. Yes, New York. We are talking about the fashion culture hub. Well, in 2007, all we had on TV was Friends, Betty Ugly, and Sex and the City. In fact, these were the favorites at the time, along with the Los Angeles reality TV shows. The American television was experiencing a rise of Real Housewives and Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Everything was normal until 2007. No one had followed the lives of young people with as much drama as Gossip Girl. The OC didn't talk about fashionistas, spoiled and dramatic young people in Manhattan. Everything in Gossip Girl was more glamorous. The setting, the sharp personalities, the expensive costumes, and the mysterious plot. Back then, nothing had fashion and mystery together. Gossip Girl arrived, breaking the TV mold. Characters' distinct styles inspired people to experiment with their own fashion choices. From tailoring, it reshaped the way people perceived fashion and sophisticated styles. What was once considered polished and even old-fashioned became cool and new. Suddenly, that blazer that was once worn by an uncle or grandfather became more refined and interesting, and plaid was no longer something for private schools. It could be paired with black boots and midi skirts, totally sexy and feminine. The show's costumes directly reflected the plot itself, highlighting the dramatic narration. Just look at the characters. Blair Waldorf's preppy chic combined with more conservative, sophisticated, and ambitious personality. She passed on to her mother's disapproval, which led to a style of headbands and appropriate attire. Meanwhile, Serena Woodsen wore something more risque and extroverted. She flaunted her free style with low necklines and mini lengths. Vanessa was more rebellious and strayed from the norms, wearing bolder clothes and combining them with comeback boots. And Chuck Bass, with his ambitions and arrogance, wore classic tailoring in a sophisticated style that mixes with what we call today old money. Jenny Humphrey, dazzled by the girl's rich and luxurious life, gets involved in constant fights with her father and dated Damien. And over the time, she stopped being a girl with more well-behaved style and found herself in rock. Dan, an attractive and sensitive boy, liked to write a lot and wore simpler and more casual clothes due to his family and personality. And Nate, the golden boy, wore tailoring and more polished casual looks. After its popularity, the show began to feature pieces by the likes of Chanel, Christian Louis Vuitton, and Valentino. The luxury fashion of Gossip Girl increased the desire for designer products at the time. The natural way they wore luxury created a new idea for young people, and this was reflected in department stores. In 2009, Anna Sui launched a line for Target that sold out in no less than 24 hours. Yes, 24 hours. And Blair's preppy style did not stop there. It was in luxury, in magazines, and on the streets. First of all, bubble skirts. Yes, bubble dresses, and skirts are trending today, and they were the favorites in 2010. They were created by Dior and Givenchy in 1950. At the time, they were totally sophisticated with the length just below the knee. But when he returned in 2000s, he was edgier and younger. In the show, the skirts was one of the pieces worn by the characters, and on the red carpets of the time, it was the favorite silhouette. Miley Cyrus, Paris Hilton, and Vanessa Hudgens all wore versions of the signature designs. Second, the capes, perfect for cold weather of New York. The capes made perfect sense in the script since they have an aristocratic origin. It's good we're talking about rich girls from Manhattan, and so it really illustrates the chic winter look. A bit different from the American fashion capes in 1950s. They were longer like the ones Michelle designed in Valentino's Last Resort collection, almost like replacement for trench coats. Third, the bodycon dress. The most famous was the bandage model by Hervé Leger, which appeared several times in the show. On the red carpet of the time, it was the favorite for celebrities like Rihanna and Miranda Kerr. And on the streets, it was the dress of the night, and any girl of the time would pair it with high heels, a chain bag for the night. Fourth, headbands. Remember the phrase, no headbands in college? Well, headbands were all the rage in 2010. Blair's signature accessory. It totally fits her preppy aesthetic, and this survived almost the entire series. Now, think of any of Blair's looks that didn't have a headband. Yep, rare. Sixth, luxury handbags. Dior, Balenciaga, Fendi, Loewe, Celine, and Chanel. Luxury handbags were everywhere. Just as the Fendi baguette was the favorite in Sex and the City, in Gossip Girl, so was the classic Chanel bag. Previously, a more classic mature lady accessory. After 2010, it became a young, cool, sophisticated accessory. Seventh, the high boots. With or without heels, they were worn with all the characters, especially Blair. They made a big impact on the fashion world. Steve Madden, Jeffrey Campbell, and Stuart Wiseman were fashion favorites at the time. Every girl needed a pair or over-the-knee boots. Who remember Blair's signature style? Jeans and boots. Okay, now the tights. In all shapes, colorful and classic lace. Tights added charm to girls' styles. No matter the style, they wore tights to maintain a chic winter look, as well as current favorite styling, burgundy tights and heels. Now, we have ballet flats, the favorites of 2024. Ballet flats were combined with tights to maintain the preppy style. In the 2000s, ballet flats were every girl's favorite, giving that feminine and delicate air, no matter how bold the look. And yes, classics with bows like those from Repetto, a fashion favorite. Now, the bows. So, the bows like those from Gucci. They are almost theatrical and somewhat flashy accessories, straight from the 1960s. They were the favorites of Coco Chanel and Saint Laurent for a more refined look. In 1980s, they became accessories for work looks, and to this day, they are the favorite among women in politics. And finally, textures. Well, the whole costume was maximalist, so textures couldn't be left out. First, metallic. Whether in dresses, tops, blazers, or jackets, metallics were present on all occasions, and regardless the prints, argyle and houndstooth checks were favorites. All the characters wore, from Chuck to Serena. This was the most democratic aesthetic of the show. In general, the preppy style was the aesthetic of the series. Although the characters were different from each other, this aesthetic remained in all the wardrobes. That kind of schoolgirl style illustrated the script. Tights, skirts, blazers, big glasses, big bags, and so on. Blair, with many references from the 1950s and 1960s, well-behaved and more chic. Serena, more indie, sexy and cool, with boots, ties in sober tones, and Jenny with her bold phrases. First a more youthful look, and then rocker aesthetic influenced by actress Taylor Momsen's own style. Well, for 6 seasons, Gossip Girl thrilled fans with this dramatic storyline and fashion, unlike anything else on TV. And show was responsible for bringing fashion to TV that actually looked fashionable. Just as Sex and the City introduced adults to fashion, gossip introduced young people to what high fashion really was. Suddenly, what once seemed uglier and wrongly tacky became a must-have for young people of the time, and today they're still here, on the runways, on the streets, and in closets, whether it's the bodycon or the headband, and we know it gained power on Gossip Girl. Well, comment below with your favorite Gossip Girl item. And remember, if you wear any extra accessories, we can blame Blair or Serena. That's all we have for you today. As we bid farewell, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, stay stylish, stay chic. XOXO, House of Vanity.